scripting buyers today. Does anybody want to jump in and talk about buyers? Are y'all dealing with struggles, wins, anything?
I have a simple question, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go. Let's start some conversation.
My question is around follow-up boss. Does anyone have a workaround to send out your mobile number instead of the follow-up boss number when it calls out? Does that question make sense?
It makes sense, but I don't have an answer for you because I use follow-up boss and I use follow-up boss. I don't use my number, so I'm not sure. Does anybody have anything on that?
Yeah, so okay, that's fine. Let me ask. So you don't have an issue with your calls going to spam, being tagged as spam and going to directly to voicemail for people?
I believe that is an issue, and I think, well, I don't think, but I know that there is a, I guess like a call and text protocol that Ozzy has given us. So
Okay.
I can put that in the chat, and then you kind of send a text and then it has your name. So that way, next time you do call, it kind of recognizes your name. And instead of saying spam, it says your name. That's
Okay.
what it says. I'm not sure. Now, I do know that they come as spam because one time one of the agents called me from their FUB and it said spam. I almost didn't answer it. I don't know why I answered it, but I'm glad I did because it was one of the agents calling from their FUB number. So I don't know, maybe voicemail. I usually leave a voicemail and then I'll text them from the number and I'll tell them like, hey, I just left you a voicemail and da 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 da.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did, but
Yeah.
I'm just all right. Thanks, that's helpful. I'll figure something out that works. Thank you.
Unless anyone has anything else on that.
So I actually, good morning, everyone. I actually have a buyer that I'm working with.
Well, let's talk about it. What do you got? Talk to us. Let's talk about it.
So for my buyer and the seller, the agent and I are understanding that we're working with very old people. So the seller is 85. Thank you. And then love you too. And then the buyer has to be nearing 80. So the agent and I are we're understanding how our clients are working, if you will, because they don't want to be rushed to do anything, but we have to abide by the contract. So it's kind of making things a little bit frustrating. But it's going. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I work with old buyers too. It's a little more frustrating, but
exactly. So my buyer, he's like, we to get the executed contract, it took, like, not even gonna lie, at least 4 days, right? We get the contract, and then I told my buyer, I'm like, hey, we need your earnest money and your option. And he's like, nobody's gonna rush me to do anything. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not trying to rush you. I just need you, we have a certain time frame. And so the agent, she called me yesterday, the listing agent, and she said, hey, has everything been turned in? And I said, no. But we both agreed that tomorrow is a safe date. And so I'm just gonna have to go meet him at his inspection, and then I'll just walk him through the steps. But it's just a lot with older people because they feel rushed and they feel pressure to come out of their, their set ways. And we're such a technology driven world now. So I just have to explain it. I take my time. I've been taking my time and just reiterating everything, kind of like talking to my toddler, just with an older person.
Yeah, pretty much. I get that. The elders are little. You kind of have to do a lot more. So, but it's it is what it is.
And then lastly, I had to explain to the agent, because like I said, I told the agent I'll just go to the inspection and get him to sign. And so the agent was like, "Are you related to the buyer?" And I said, "No, like, why are you asking that?" And she said, "Well, because this is like your second or so time with him." And I said, "Well, it's to get everything signed. I'm not gonna sit, and stay on the phone if he's frustrated, If it's a simple car ride to just go meet him, pull out my computer, help him log in where he needs to log in and guide him." And she was like, "Oh, I just was saying," she said, "I wasn't sure if y'all was related." And I'm like, "No, I would disclose that, but we're definitely not related. And secondly, I don't know how many people he knows that, may be older and want to purchase, and I could be a referral, So I just
absolutely.
explained that to her, and she was like, "Oh, okay." And I don't think she was imposing, but like, what is it to her that I'm taking or to down with him, So
yeah, I think it's just kind of rare, honestly, because I get the same thing. Like, who are they to you, and why are you helping them? Well, because they're my client and they need the help. Like, what do you think? So yeah, but just keep it up, keep doing it. It's a lot more work, but it's definitely rewarding for sure.
Do they have a caregiver that helps them with their issues, like a relative or somebody that's involved in this? Or
so now from my side, he's probably about 70 something, but not from my side, but for the seller side, she's working with her family. So her son is helping. Her husband passed away, so her son is helping her. So I guess for the selling side, yes, but not from my side. I've learned him. He's just more stubborn versus moving slow, and so I think if I just reiterate everything that has to be done, he'll actually be okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Is anybody running into any issues? Is there anything that I guess you're having trouble overcoming, maybe on the phone or maybe when you're in person doing a consultation? Is there anybody that's having any struggles with maybe verbiage or how do I explain this? Is anybody having any of those issues right now that maybe we could all work together and knock out?
Before we jump into that, maybe right before you got here, Gene had a question about his FUB. There's any way he could use his personal number to call through FUB?
Is today's Tuesday, right? Lead generation? Is that what Tuesday is?
Today is buyers.
Buyers. Okay, then I guess we can go over that. So what was your issue, Gene?
yeah, my question is there a workaround with follow-up boss so it does not send out their number? And can it send out my personal number on the receiver's caller ID? Because what's happening is people have caller ID filters, and it pretty much sends it to spam, right? So it goes straight to voicemail. It doesn't even ring in their phone.
So I mean, the workaround for me on that, and this is, so you can absolutely ask FUB if you could just port your number straight through it. That's up to you. The workaround that I haven't had that issue with, I mean, I have, obviously people move to spam, but I would say the workaround on my end is always just call, text, voicemail, call, email, right? So if I text and say, hey, John, it's Devin, or just say, hey, John, right? Or John ? It's already going to put me in their notes for the most part. As long as like, I have not had the issue of like where every person I'm calling is going to spam. It's maybe 1 out of 10 people that I'll call that'll be like, you know, straight to voicemail, or it just won't ring at all. But most of the time I'm pretty much able to get through to a lot of people.
All right. That's cool. I got it. You guys have given me, I mean, yeah, I texted the folks too, right? And say, hey, it's me calling you. Hit me back. So, all good.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what we're doing in the ponds and with our lead gen is we're working laws of averages. We're trying to hit as many people as possible and catching the people that want to be contacted, because there are people in our database right now that are waiting for one of us to call them. They have needs that we can provide, and we're just trying to find them, right? So approach the pond in that manner. I'm just trying to find the person that needs my help right now.
I also wanted to tell Jean about something that I just thought of. Jean, if you're calling anyone that's like your SOI and you don't want to lose, and I don't know if this is like a points issue or just more of like a spam caller issue from your FUB number, don't forget that you can have people from your SOI that's in your FUB, and you can actually call from your personal number, have whatever phone call, and then log it in FUB as a phone call. So just so you're not losing out on those points, because like it is on the honor system, so you can't like, you know, log everybody like you've logged a call. But if you truly have had a phone call, it didn't happen from your FUB number, you can still count it as a point. So
yeah, it wasn't about the points. It was just about getting to them the first time. But I that's a great suggestion. Thank you. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, I logged it in manually.
Perfect.
Thank you.
What else, y'all? What else is anybody having any issues over the phone? Is anybody getting stumped by something? We're all just having perfect calls. Or we're not calling enough.
Good morning. Hi, David.
Good
I have
morning.
a question. Good morning. Yes, it is about when you have 3 numbers. So, how many times you call the first number? No, how many times the second, the third number? So how is the protocol for that, please?
Gotcha. So you're saying like with the expireds when they have 3 phone numbers attached, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm always gonna assume the first one, as long as it's not a landline, is gonna be the best phone number for them. So I try to treat that first number as if it's their primary. I will call all 3, and I will text mostly the first one. And if there's an email attached, obviously email them. But that first number is usually, I would say, 7 out of 10 times, it's usually the most primary one. The second one will be like a house phone or like a partner's phone, and then the third one would usually be like a work phone or something like that, or an old phone number that they had associated with the address. But I would focus on the first one.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anything else, y'all? Today's EAT class at 11 for any of the new agents in here. It's going to be the ISA. We're going to be going over follow-up boss and how to use it at a high level, and just going over all that good stuff, and lead rotation, that whole number. So if y'all are in EAT, if you've been through EAT and want a refresher, come through. Should be a good class. If anybody, one last chance, anybody got anything that they want to talk about?
I got something on the selling side. It's not a buyer question, but it's on the listing side. But
Let's
I know
do
it's
it.
not the right day.
Well, let's hear it.
All right, I'll try to make this quick. So I had a listing, yada yada yada. Paid for marketing, paid for pictures, got it listed. Actually got an offer, showed it. Like I said, got an offer. Then our listing, our sellers decided not to sell. Right, so I'm out. I'm out all the marketing fees and time and everything like that. So I was talking to another agent who works out of Austin, top producer in Austin, and he says he writes it into the contract, the listing agreement, somewhere in the I don't know, what did he say? Did he say line 12? Anyway, where it's like if they withdraw or cancel the listing before the expiration date, like if it's on them and they cancel it, then he gets all that money back. He gets $500 or whatever back towards his marketing. I just want to know if anyone else has heard of that. Does anyone else write that in their listing agreements where they get their marketing fees back if they cancel the listing agreement prior to the termination? Alec, after you've already like invested in the marketing and time and everything like that.
Yes. So, I mean, on the Ask Ozzy team, we have a listing fee. I'm not the one to explain that. I think that's more of a Chelsea Lori question, but yes, we do have a fee of like that.
Yes, we write into our listing agreements. They actually get charged our sellers that, list through our team, through our agents. We get a $495 transaction fee at closing. And if they terminate before we go live, maybe they've changed their mind, but we've already, scheduled sign, lockbox pictures. They pay that $495, and it's written into the agreement that, they have to pay it. Now, if there's, extending circumstances, family illness, something like that, then, we work with them on that fee. But yeah, we get a fee. We get the early termination fee of $495 or the transaction fee, whichever happens first. There are more than a handful of agents in our brokerage that are not on the team that charge a $495 transaction fee. And if they have a transaction manager, the seller is paying that $400 or whatever fee for their transaction manager. So there are some agents that have two fees. They get a transaction fee and they get the fee that they pay their transaction manager. We have an agent in our brokerage that in every single buyer representation, the buyer pays her $150 brokerage E&O fee. Like, she doesn't pay her E&O fee, her buyers pay that. It's on the CDA, it's in her list, it's in her buyer rep agreement. So as an agent, you can charge that fee.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And I guess that's whatever box he says it is. But yeah, it was, I was like, damn, I never thought of that. You know what I mean? Like, because that's really protects us because we've invested all that money in it. And then all of a sudden they get cold feet or whatever, change their mind or whatever. It's like, okay, I need to be reimbursed. So I'm not, out several $100s every time this happens. So.
Yes, absolutely. And we don't do it often, but when a seller does, kind of gives us pushback on that fee, we are telling them we're going to withdraw your listing, because sometimes they want to terminate us to go move somewhere else. And after we've done all the work and all that good stuff. So withdrawing it does not allow them to list with another agent until that fee is paid.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I did on this one is I just withdrew. It's still withdrawn. I don't think they're going to list. Like I'm confident they're not. I you know, this person's a friend of mine. They said they just changed their mind. But it was like, for the future, I want to make sure I'm a little bit more protected and covered. So thank y'all very much.
Yeah, I can send you the verbiage that we put in our team listing agreements. If you want, I can have Chen send that to you.
That would be great. Thank you, Lord.
You're welcome.
Awesome info. All right, y'all, it's about to be 8:30. Let's get some gratitude and bucket fillers. What are you grateful for today? No one's grateful.
And also because now I'm heading to the office, I really now need that energy in the office. So,
Jackie, you're very muffled right now. I can't hear you.
Okay. What about now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you a lot better.
Okay, good. I say I'm grateful because now the beautiful day I'm going to the office and I want to go get that energy from the office. I really love it. Be around the people that care and add to that energy in the day. I'm grateful for that.
There you go. Love it. Are you coming in today?
I'm on my way.
Okay, awesome. Let's go. Who's next?
Hey, I got one. I got a personal one that I'll share with you guys. So I have a cousin and her husband and 2 kids who we were able to get out of Cuba. And for us, that's a big deal. I don't know if you guys know anybody that still lives in Cuba, but it's not a good situation. So this is my last blood cousin that we had left over there, and she had 2 kids and a husband, and we were able to get them out of the country legally with residency to Brazil. So for us, that's a big deal, man. And we are super grateful that they were able to get out.
That's amazing news.
That
Yep.
is so
Love it.
awesome, Gene. So what does that process look like? Like, do they have to have sponsors to?
You got to know the right people to talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they, I mean, it's a long story that I really don't want to get into here. I'll tell you, personally, but I mean, they wanted to do it the wrong way. And, I didn't sign up for that for a lot of reasons. So, I just said, look, you got to find somebody that got out through another country legally with papers. So when you get there, you can work and and this is a 3-year episode because they would be calling me and my mom, my mom, it's my mom's brother's daughter, and they finally kind of, took a step back and they were desperate to get out, and they did exactly that. They found someone that found a way to get out through a country in a legal manner, and that's how we got it done.
Yeah, my husband is from El Salvador, and so of course, that country has totally changed from what it used to be. It used to be a 3rd world country. Now it's the most safest country to go to, thanks to their president. But we, helping his family get out of that same situation. It was a 3-year process, and finding, people to sponsor, basically put your life on the line to get someone out of a country is, while it's a scary situation, it's the most self-rewarding situation. And when they of course we sponsor for them to come here, and Yeah, it's just a feeling like no other. So
Listen, I had to tell this cousin of mine that I wasn't going to sponsor them when they wanted me to sponsor them through the U.S. program. I told her, I go, look, I'm not going to sponsor you. I don't know you. I don't know your husband.
mhm.
You know, and what you're asking me to do is to sign for you. And I mean, I was very graphic with them because I needed them to understand why I was saying no.
Mhm.
And as it turns out, that program fell apart because it was being abused and people were doing all kinds of fraud. So anyway, yeah, it was hard telling them no, knowing what they
Yeah.
were going through because I know exactly what they're going through. But we got, we did it the right way, and they are in a free land today. Thank God.
That is so amazing. So amazing.
What else, y'all? Who else has got a gratitude or bucket filler?
I have one. We celebrated Owen's birthday this weekend, and he had 2 hours of football practice Saturday morning before his party. And after practice, he was so tired, but he was ready, like he was excited. And we went paintballing for the party. And for 3 hours, these kids just ran around blasting each other with paintballs. It was so much fun. The dads, of course, had to get in and play. And we took him to practice last night, and we got home and he was sitting there and he was like, my knees hurt. So I had him icing his knees after his little Epsom salt bath. And I'm just looking at him, and this kid is black and blue all over the place. Looks like he just got, like that he was beat. But he's such a boy, and he plays so hard, and he's bruised from football, he's bruised from paintball, and then he fell and busted his knee. But he was just sitting there like resting and relaxing his little body. I'm just so grateful that he's as resilient as he is, and we get to participate in all the things.
Awesome stuff. Now today is buyers. So what do y'all have to talk about? Any issues with buyers? Any big wins? Any missed opportunities?
I'll share something with my buyer last week, and learning something that I need to start implementing into my buyer consults. Have a little first-time home buyer. We wrote an offer on a property in June, beginning of June. Went into multiple offers. After we had submitted our offer, pretty much seller just drug us out until he got a better offer, and he did. So ultimately, my little client, his offer got declined. She was heartbroken. She absolutely loved this house. So we have been on the search, just, buyers, when they want something so bad, they start comparing other properties to that one property that is no longer exists. It doesn't, it's not available. And so, got a text message from the agent, last week that, hey, are your clients still available? The buyer's financing fell through like 3 days before it was supposed to close. And so I knew what my client's answer was going to be. We resubmitted, and that was, on a Thursday. Actually, this was 2 weeks ago when this happened, because last week is when all this drama happened too. So 2 weeks ago, submitted on a Thursday. Buyer's agent tells me, your offer's too low. And I'm like, what? My offer is full price with less than 3% closing cost help. Tell me how that is too low. And he said, well, they got an appraisal from the last buyer. Mind you, this property is listed at $219,900. He said he had an appraisal for $270,000. And I said, well, that's all fine and dandy, but that's not my client's appraisal. So our offer stands. This was where we left off with the seller. In fact, we had accepted the seller's counter to our offer. And so listing agent tells me, okay, clients are going to wait through the weekend. He said, I'm just being full and transparent. They want to see if they get a better offer than yours. So I shared this information with my client, and she's perfectly okay with it. She's like, that's fine. I don't mind waiting. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So last Monday, agent texts me and says, my clients want to move forward with your offer. Perfect. We execute. Talk to my client, and we already executed. We're under contract. Getting ready to schedule inspection. And she tells me, I have something to tell you. And I said, okay, what is that? And she said, well, I went school shopping over the weekend and I affirmed everything. And I was like, okay. She goes, but I can go pay it. I can go pay it right now. I have the cash to pay it off. And I said, well, don't do anything. I need to call Jennifer, which Jennifer Groove is the lender. And I said, the thing about that is it could affect your debt to income ratio. I said, so let me call Jennifer and see what we need to do. So panically called Jennifer. She said, yes, that can become an issue. Let me pull and see what's going on. I said, okay. Jennifer calls me later that evening and says, sister, the Affirm is not really what we need to be worried about. She only charged $895. She said that will need to be paid at closing. She doesn't need to pay it now. I've already talked to her. But while I'm on the phone talking to her about Affirm, she says, I have something to tell you. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot. Jennifer says, we have a bigger fire to put out. And I said, okay, what could that be? She went and bought a car. She goes, no. She said, she pulled all of her cash out of her bank account and has it at home. And I said, what? She said, yes, she wanted to go pay her earnest money and her option money with cash. And I said, oh my gosh. She said, well, she basically pulled it out because, the house shopping took longer than what what she anticipated. And she wanted to make sure that she had the cash when the time came and that her fiance did not spend it. So she's pulled it out and has it hidden in her house. And I was like, oh my God. So now my client has to make weekly deposits of $2,000, no more than $2,000. And she can only do it weekly to get her money back in her account, which could ultimately extend the closing because she needs about 4 to 5 weeks to put the money back into the account. So I say all that to say we probably do very well with telling our clients don't go buy anything, don't make huge purchases, but explaining that you cannot take all your money out of your bank account is something that I have never had to have a conversation about. So yeah, so it's been a wild ride. I think we're going to be okay. Luckily she had just enough money in her checking account that she could go and deposit $2,000, and that $2,000 plus what she had in her bank account was enough for her to timely pay her earnest money and option fee to the title company through her bank account. So make sure you're talking Affirm and don't take your money out and all that good stuff when you're having these buyer consults. Did y'all hear me, or was I just talking to air?
Lori, that was a great story, and I just
No,
want
we
to make
heard
a
you.
No, we hear you.
Okay.
I wanted to make a
was
comment.
I mean, I have to ask, if you don't mind me asking, what's the profile of this client? Are they older? Are they younger? Are they experienced?
Oh no, she's a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
Whitney, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to make a comment about something that I usually say in my buyer consult, like not that people hear it or that it sticks, but I let them know that if it has to do with their money, to contact their money lifeline, which is their lender. So before you do anything with your money, reach out to your lender, who is your money lifeline. As your agent, I am your property lifeline. So just something I like to try to plant that seed as far as like, if you're thinking about doing anything with your money, talk to your lender first, because they probably would have advised her not to do that.
Yeah, and I pretty much say something to that effect, Whitney. Like, the way you handle your money from the pre-approval to the closing is very important. They are checking that even while you are signing. So don't do anything with the bank accounts or your money. But for me, I'm like, okay, Affirm, and I don't know if everybody knows what Affirm is, but Affirm is that you can, I guess it's kind of like layaway. You go do all this, purchase stuff, and then they take it out of your bank account monthly. So in their eyes, she thought it was like a debit card. And I'm like, she didn't know it affected her credit. And so, I was telling leadership the story, and Ozzy didn't even know what Affirm was. So the lesson for me was no Affirms and don't take your money out of your bank account. Like, I got to be specific, because that Affirm, Jennifer said, had she charged maybe $200 or $300 more, it would have totally changed her position in being able to buy this house, and that would have been devastating for her. So, and it does affect your debt to income ratio. Like, it's crazy. Jennifer said she wished she could all burn them.
There are how much money movement can really affect your credit when the prices, or when you buying a house. There are amount specific, depending how is the amount the house you buy, or what?
Yeah, that would be a lender question. I have no idea, because they get into the debt to income ratio and all of that stuff. So I don't even try to understand things like that. That's what we have lenders for.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about buyers? Any other crazy stories? I don't know if y'all remember my story about, just because nobody's talking about buyers, I'm going to move to another story that I had told y'all got an offer on one of my listings. Agent hadn't showed it, and just kind of went to y'all on how y'all would handle that, blah, blah, blah. They wrote an offer. We executed. Anyway, we got through, and when I went back to counter, I countered a little bit higher earnest money and a $500 option, just because I was scared that they were going to terminate. And I probably pretty much manifested this just because I kept thinking it. But we got through repairs. Everything that they asked for, my seller agreed to. Foundation evaluation, roof evaluation and repair, HVAC evaluation and repair, replacing the tub surround. Like, there were some big ticket items on this repair amendment. And so, my sellers were like, listen, either I'm going to do it now, I'm going to do it later. I might as well just do it. This is just fair. And if for any reason this falls through, at least the repairs are done. Well, it fell through after option. So it was for the exact reason I knew. The buyer had not seen the property. The listing agent has been out of town on vacation. She goes to the property the Monday after, which was last Monday, after the option period ended on that previous Saturday. She goes in, and then on Tuesday I get the termination. And so I call the agent and I'm like, what happened? She said, if I'm being honest, she said, I don't believe the seller was in love with the floor plan. And I said, well, I specifically asked you because it's a 2-story house, and her client is an 80-year-old lady. And I said, well, and that's why I specifically asked you when we went under contract. She does know it's a 2-story, right? And she said yes, she's fine with that. I was like, okay. So anyway, the buyer terminated. My clients got the earnest money and the option fee back. So, but yeah, I didn't know if y'all remembered that story, but it did ultimately.
Why would the agent let the option expire and then figure out that it's about the floor plan, not even about the inspection?
Yeah, because this agent, Whitney, I don't know, she was on vacation, even during repair negotiations. This is the property that Chelsea had to redo the repair amendment because she didn't even have time to do that for her client. So we did the repair amendment. Of course, we changed some verbiage that, was to the better of our client, the seller. But I just think this agent was, on vacation when she wrote the offer. She was on vacation during inspections, and then she came back that week, and I guess she went to go look at the property because I got dinged that she wanted to go show the property, and she put reason inspection. And so I called her and said, I got the notice that you want to go see the property, which is fine. You can go see the property. Just want to get clarity because the sellers are seeing inspection, what's really going on, because I knew what was going on. I wanted to hear it from her.
But where was the buyer this whole time?
The buyer was in San Antonio visiting her son. The buyer is still in San Antonio.
So
go ahead.
Well, I just I didn't know if maybe if the other agent had anybody else possible that could have video toured the whole property for her during option. It would have been, it's better for your seller, so congrats, but it's a bummer for the buyer.
Yeah. And I'm assuming because our plumber was at the property when she showed up, and the plumber is, someone I know. And so he let me know that she was on the phone the whole time talking to someone explaining the property. And so it wasn't a video tour, but it sounds like she got back from vacation. She went to the property, called her client, explained the property, and then it just happened. So yes, that's how it all went down. There's so much more to this story. It's just crazy how agents would, and
You
she
called
told.
it.
Go ahead.
You called it from the beginning.
Yes, I just felt it, and I kept like, oh no, this is, but then when we made it past option, I was like, and she paid her earnest money like on time. Like, I was like, okay, Lori, you're just, you're creating stories. And then, and then I got that over lunch. I was like, no, my sellers. But they were perfectly fine with it. They were just like, well, we just go back. That means there's another offer, and we keep moving. So sometimes I call it your gut instinct is you can't ignore it. But yeah, this agent was just living her best life on vacation for 2 weeks.
Yeah, where'd she go? Do you know?
She was in Florida one week, in Tennessee and another with her family. She even told me, can you just redo the repair amendment? I am at SeaWorld with my kids, and I can't do the amendment. And she didn't get back with me till after option expired. So my sellers did not even have to sign the repair amendment because she waited till after 5 to give me her client's final, in the middle of negotiation. She waited till after 5. And let me tell y'all, this is a broker. She's not just an agent. She is she is the broker. So it was wild.
That's crazy. She should have had somebody cover her. She should hire a transaction coordinator. She needs to hire a VA.
Yeah.
Lori, I'm surprised you let that shit fly.
Well, I didn't really want to because I am like the one that, y'all know how I am. But Whitney just had this particular situation with one of her listings. And I was like, if Whitney can do it, I can do it too. So it was just having that conversation with the seller and letting them know, hey, you really don't have to sign this repair amendment. This agent, our option period ended at 5:00. And I said, however, we were in negotiations, we renegotiated, so you can still sign and we're going to be okay because we're past option anyway. So the file's going to keep moving. But yeah, it was just a hodgepodge of everything. And, I'm just moving forward because of this, I'm going to insist that I get more clarity why go show the property. Like, I even thought, I'll go shoot a video and send it to you so you can send to your clients,
I was about to suggest that. Like, you could have done a video. Again, like, if she was going to terminate, she's going to terminate, but it could have prevented the whole situation.
Being off the market for 10 days when we went under contract in 2. Do you know what I mean? That was 10 days off the market. And now, not that it's happened, but now agents calling and saying, why did it go back off why is it back on the market? And, my sellers, this is another thing. My sellers wanted to see the inspection report. So now our seller's disclosure notice has to change because now they have an inspection report. So, yeah, it's just all the things. Anything else before we jump into affirmation? Y'all say a prayer for Sandra. She was walking Teeter last night, and Teeter got distracted and kind of pulled her, and she took a bad fall. So say a prayer that she, recovers quickly. All right, what are we saying for affirmation? Anybody got anything? We're going to sit here in silence till somebody says something.
What's your focus on expands?
I love that. I was just telling Tanya in our coaching call yesterday that is my favorite affirmation. All right, Chelsea, you want to bring it home?
It's only me and Jackie here in the office. Jackie just walked in, so come join us. Hope to see y'all at Eat.
Yes, eat today and the rest of this week.
You guys were here. What?
Lori, when is contracts listing and
Contracts is Friday.
Friday? Okay, and listing?
Listings was yesterday.
Okay, I missed it.
All right, let's go. Cameras on, mics on. I can see Whitney's beautiful face. Who else? Let's go. All right, what you focus on expands on 3. 1, 2, 3.
What
you focus on
expands?
What
you
focus
focus on
on?
expands?
What
What
you
you focus
focus
on
on
expands?
expands?
What you focus on the 3.
Yelling in my head by myself.
Good morning.
Sorry.
Good morning,
Jackie.
Good morning, Devin.
Later, y'all.